Hello there. Today we're going to give you an honest review of As We Descend. Now this is another card-based game where you go on runs. So there's no real, deck building and stuff like that for this game. You do have your decks and your units in this game. So this game has units, and units have their cards, and there's quite a bit of units, and there's different factions that you can get and unlock and play. And your main unit right here is your lantern. That's you, and you have your own set of cards to sit there and collect for yourself. And then all the different units that you use in the combat. Since your lantern doesn't do anything besides support stuff automatically, you don't really control it. You control your cards and your deck. But yeah, you start off with just one unit, and you get a second one right away. And then there's certain different expeditions you go on when you're in town, and you get other characters. But your certain unit can only hold 8 cards at a time. I think you start with 5 each, and now that represents your deck. So you have your own set of cards that go up to 8, and your units have cards that go up to 8, and you can get up to 4 units at once in a fight. So that's a lot of cards you can have, so that's going to really affect your RNG factor on what cards you're going to pull and their effectiveness and that type of thing. But you can mix and match and replace your cards and add new cards, and the cards do upgrade. It's just minor upgrades, just like a 1 upgrade right now where you can get extra damage. Like I think this one here gets maybe just like 6 damage instead of just 4 damage type of a thing. Yeah, that's probably not, might cost 0 too after that, but I don't know. The costs go down and stuff like that. But anyways, you have all these different characters and different playstyles for that stuff. So that's the neatest part of this game, is that right there. But yeah, this codex isn't finished yet. Then you have perks for your units too, and your units also can get upgrades and give them more hit points and stuff like that. So you can have up to 4 perks for your units, and that's going to be another RNG thing on what perks you get, because it's usually get a random perk is what you get for your upgrade for them. And then you have these little tech things, which are just basically global artifacts that most of these other run games have. Right, you find this random artifact that gives you a power. You do some you draw an extra card type of a deal, or this certain ability type does a little bit more damage, and so it's only going to work if you actually have that unit type ability with you. Then you have it's only a choice of 3 out of 66, so there you go with the RNG factor and the different units and their different synergies and things like that as you're going there. The enemies, not too much on there, just 57 on there for the enemies, so you're fighting the same guys over and over. We'll go there and start a new game here and show you what this game is about. So you don't really see this at the start, I don't believe. You just have to go on a run, then all this stuff unlocks. So this is the unlocking factor, which makes it a passable game. So you get these characters, they're unlocked, they get special abilities as you do stuff. So for this one here, I have to unlock 25 of these guys' cards, which is basically seeing them for the first time. And then once those cards are unlocked, I can pick this one here and get access to some more powerful cards for that character type of a thing. And then you play these other characters and find them in the run, and all the same thing over and over again, as finding these different characters, unlocking their different other cards for their special abilities to make them better, that type of stuff. And then you have different modifiers to make the game harder as you go through there. There's the 3 different factions. Maybe the neutral isn't in yet, or part of the faction. Who knows? It's still early access and stuff like that. But yeah, you have like different descent levels, and you repeat this process like 3 times basically. You fight a boss, and then do it again, fight a boss, and as you do the fights in this game. But this is the unlock area of the run, and you can pick a different run, but it's still like the same city over and over again. And they try and make it like an RPG factor type of deal. But yeah, then you have your basic, your cycle timer right here. Next cycle, that's still, going down 5 times, and you fight a boss, I think. You have these different reactors you got to try and find in your little expeditions, and you get some more shields for yourself, so you can survive. And you have the special favor right here, which gives you some of your cards use that for as a special currency to actually play them. And then you have your own little copper currencies in this game. But yeah, this guy wants to talk to you right now, so you draft a new unit, so you get like a pick from a random unit. So it doesn't seem really random. I think it's the same pick all the time for my guys. But yeah, let's go over there and pick this guy, for example. He shows you the hit points. Well, it shows you their special abilities too, right? So you can see what this guy does. He's the basic standard issue. He's got a 3 attack on there. This guy's got 4 attack damage on for him. He's range, and this guy's a melee guy, and this guy is going to be, this guy's just a support character. He doesn't actually do any damage. You just draw an extra card each turn. So we'll just go with this guy right here, since I don't really need support, not that much for there. But you just get more shields for yourself. But there is 2 different rows in this game. So when you're doing the fighting, but yeah, when you're done this, the city pops up, and then you have like a merchant shop, and you have your little character cards, and you get different ones each cycle type of a thing, and you can add more by doing special events. So we can go here, like one of the unlocks is to unlock the access to the shop on the first turn, so then we can see what the stuff is in the shop. We can buy some new cards for you myself, basically, and if I really want to, applies some power to all your friendlies. That's not a bad thing, but it takes a sun to use it. I call them suns, but it's, it looks like a sun, right? This favor, it requires favor to use it, but it's still not bad. And then you got to replace it. So this is your starting thing right here. So some of these cards are going to be, well, look at this, all imply empower. So I already had lots of these type of things already, right? But yeah, you can see and draw one from that friendly unit. I don't really I don't really want to waste this. I'll get rid of one of those ones there. That's not too effective. Well, it might be effective depending on what your deck is. But yeah, then you have this other stuff, so I can gain some more favor, or I could get this right here, which is choose a unit to draft a new combat card. Oh, well, that's not really. You get those a lot, so I don't have to worry about it. But anyways, this is what the game looks like. You just go into the next cycle. That means you descend, or you can just start doing the actual combat. We'll show you that. But yeah, there's all these different characters that want different things, and then this guy here, you give him stuff, and he might. That's researcher. He'll give you access to a relic. We don't got any relics yet, so we can't see that. Those are for like after the first couple fights, or you might find it. But yeah, you just go. This is what the main thing is. You go on the expedition, and you can see the unit number, so you can only bring 1 unit into this fight, or I can get this one here, or I can get one of the reactor rods, where you can get an extra 20 to your shields for your city and yourself, right? Since I got none right now. And then, I'll show you what this guy does, right? So whatever you do the fight, so you can pick and choose which guy you want to use. And for now, we'll just use the basic melee guy that you start off with all the time, and then you deploy them. But if I had room to deploy both of those guys, I'd draw up all their cards basically that they had. But yeah, this is the drawback of doing that. When you have more units, this guy here starts in the back row. He needs to get to the front row to do any attacking. And look at this, I didn't draw the card. He has a card to make you go to the front row, but I didn't pull it, so he's not going to be able to do anything. This guy is going to be doing 8 damage to you. You can see he's going to be lobbing an attack at you. So yeah, you get screwed off in this stuff. But this character has like a reroll thing, right? So you can go over there and use that. Apply barrier to myself if I want to. Like this one here applies 8 barrier to myself, so I could just go there. You're doing 8 damage. Well, now I'm protected. I got 8 barrier, and now I can use his other special attacks instead to help do that. Since you're doing attack this turn, this guy's probably going to do the attack next turn, so we can attack him. And now I'm out of energy, right? So you kind of want a support guy that gives you some more of your command, basically, for yourself. But yeah, well, now they're both attacking, so they're both doing range stuff. So I can just go, now I can finally move him to his zone, so he'll get an attack off at least. So these guys are, see that you lob them to the support zone, so they're not going to be doing any damage to me, so that's good. Apply and power to all your friendly units. Why not? I tell you, this guy gets more stagger bonus for this melee character, and all different characters get more different bonuses for their different empowerments. Basically, I think that ranged Alberus guy gets more crit. Bigger chance of crit damage, 50% crit damage, or each time, I think. I don't know exactly. They're not too liberal with all that detail. But yeah, this guy's done and staggered, and you can just hit him his weak point again. So they got weak points, and some of the bosses will have other places to hit, like get rid of their armor permanently, that type of thing. But yeah, when you're done your turn, this guy goes and misses, and then I can hit him there. But yeah, he's crit, he's down. He's got like 3 things left, and then we could do that thing again if we wanted to. But this guy's empowerment is just increase the stagger, and we don't need that at the moment. This was like gnawing and dizzy, so you can blast him for big amounts of damage there. And then we got 2 repositions at once. But this guy does rerolls, right? So you get the redraws, basically, right? So we can take this and do that. But that's a limited thing. Those don't refresh in your fight. So we can do 5 damage and stagger. There we go. And I think we are done. I could use this, but that would be kind of a waste at the moment. And I got more command points. It's going to be, I wish you can't really pick what you're attacking. That's why they have a special thing for it, or I would have attacked him, but I got the card there to finish him off, and he's dead. So there we go. Get 9 and Dizzy. This fight's over, and we're done. So yeah, you got your own little special cards you use for that, and yeah, they do their attacks at the end of the turn. That's basically what you do, and then there we go. We got our reward. We go there, pick that, and then we have our scavenger team that we used, and they only had 6. Some of them will have more. We got pathways blocking it, so yeah, this is blocking it. So there's no way I'm going to have enough to get that, so I might as well go ahead and pick up this guy here instead. I got a computer chip that's, does whatever. And then we can go here and use up the rest of the guys, and they just died, so they didn't do anything useful there. But yeah, you don't save all that stuff. We got that reactor rod that we can stick into one of the 4 areas on here, and you restore your shields. There you go, got some shields back. And then we take this computer chip and see who wants that. Only that guy wants it. And this is like modify a lantern card, so that's what it does. So we can modify one of my cards on there, upgrade a lantern card. So we can upgrade any one of these cards right there. We see what it does. We'll make this one cost 1 less, which is not bad since we are pretty short on our ability points. And we have the barrier. This is pretty lame. 2 more for your barrier. That's a lame upgrade. Lots of these cards are pretty weak. This one here is what? Oh, it doesn't cost any more of the that resource right there. So that's a good upgrade. He applies 1 to all your friendly guys, and so that's going to be good for later on. So definitely go for that. Like this one here, it gives you a 2 kindling for your guys, and some more burning damage, I think, and fleeting, or whatever it says on there for fleeting and stuff like that. You got to read all this stuff carefully. But yeah, for now, it's going to take that and upgrade that card so it doesn't cost that resource, and I can empower all my guys for cheap. Then that would be good. And then you are done. Go on another envoy. You can heal your guys up at the tavern or get some more of this resource back. You get a choice. And then just go on another thing here. There we go. I can get this one here for the random thing. I'll gain 2 more attack bonus, but 2 health, but that's good for my melee guys. And then go on another expedition or take the next cycle. I don't care. And there's your next cycle. You can go down, so there's a little mini boss there, then another boss there, then you do this 3 times, and the run is over. It's not too difficult. I found, basic training. I said I have to do this, and I'm gonna pick a card for one of my guys. This one costs nothing, so that's pretty decent. And then +2 for each fury card played this battle, so you play that one last. This one can inflict stagger on this guy and move him to the guard zone. Yeah, moving to the guard zone is a pain in the ass, and it also affect stagger if he's in the support zone. So yeah, that's probably better overall to have that card on him. But anyways, then I gotta do this right now, so I got a choice though, right? Take your chances or do whatever he wants to do. And that's a draft and action unit card. That's just another card you can draw for your guys if you want to or not. But that is the rundown of this game. It's more rinse and repeat of the same stuff and the same RNG. And as you go down the first 5 stages, the next start of the stage, you're going to get an option to get another free relic, or you can find more of those relics yourself on those little dungeon runs that you do, those little expeditions, and you can give them to them. But you can only do it like once per, once per little map area, once per main cycle, I guess, of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 thing that we saw on the side. But yeah, this game is okay and decent. It does have things to unlock, and there is progression in this, so it does check some of those boxes, and you can modify your deck and your cards and pick and choose which ones you want to use for the fights. So it does have some of that on there, so that's not too bad. That's why this game for me gets a pass. But it's still going to be the same thing, doing runs over and over again, relying on RNG factor. And it's the same thing over and over again. I got bored the second run I did, and that was it. And I finished them both, so it's not too hard to do if I can do it. But you can increase the difficulty and get better rewards, obviously, and more things unlocked. So there is a lot to do in this game. It's still under development, but if you're kind of bored of just going on the same runs over and over again, you might get bored pretty quickly. But it is, it's still a different card game with different characters and different ways to play them. You just can't build them and start with whatever you want to start with to actually do the run, which would make it more interesting in my eyes. But you be the judge of if this is the kind of game you like for yourself. For me, it gets a pass, so it gets a 5 out of 10. But it's nothing for me to write home about, basically. So I'm not going to come back and play this game anytime soon unless I'm really bored and I want to go on a run, basically. So yeah, but I don't know if I'm going to delete it or not. That's where I'm at. That's why for me it's 5 out of 10. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I will see you later.